watching this Nikki Haley, and so from South Carolina, she's up and she's saying, if you remember her little speech, where she goes and said, well, you know, she's referring to me, so I can practically use the name. But he said, there's great anger, essentially, on behalf of Donald Trump and the people that are with Donald Trump. And by the way, we have the most loyal people in the world. These people are incredible. Every poll shows I can do practically anything, maybe even anything, and nobody's going to leave. Leave me if I do something bad, though. That's okay, don't worry. But I won't. But they say they're the most loyal, where we have this incredible percentage of people. In fact, they said the other night on television, those people will never leave. Whereas other people, they'll leave like if you sneezed incorrectly, they'll leave. They're gone. They're gone. But Nikki Haley said, there's great anger, and he's showing great anger. And I said to myself, that's interesting. I think she's referring to me. And she's referring to the people, of which I think we have a majority, big by far, in the country. And so what I did is during the debate, 2 debates ago, they said, Mr. Trump, are you angry? Now, I was supposed to say, oh, no, I'm not angry. I'm thrilled with the way the country's being run. Isn't it brilliant? Isn't it brilliant? We get nothing, right? We have bad trade deals. We have bad everything. Bad prisoner swaps. How about our famous prisoner swap? 5 for 1, right? 5 for 1. We get a dirty, rotten traitor. They get 5 people that they want desperately. And remember this, 5 people at least were killed going after this guy. We have a real unemployment rate well into the 20s. You know, it's a phony number. That number was developed, this number of 5%. That number to get there was developed by politicians to make them look good. Do you think I'd have a crowd like this if we didn't have tremendous unemployment? Our economy stinks. China and everyone else is stealing our jobs. Mexico just took Carrier. You know all about Carrier, right? I see it on television 2 weeks ago. Wonderful people. They could be us. Wonderful people. 1,400 being told by some executive, we're moving to Mexico. Sorry, folks, you're laid off. The devastation of those people, good product. The devastation of those people was horrible to watch it. And I said to people, you know, I'm a free trader, and to be conservative, you're supposed to be a free trader. But you got to be a smart trader. I don't want to say I'm highly anything anymore. I say I am a common sense conservative. Is that okay? Because these so-called conservatives, these, you know, hardliners, Donald Trump is calling for a tax on goods coming into our country. Well, if China taxes us, which they do big league and nobody even talks about it, then I'm going to tax them the same amount, okay? Now, what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you, we're losing a lot of our businesses. Pfizer is leaving. Massive Pfizer, the big pharmaceutical company, they're moving. You heard about it. They're leaving our country. Thousands and thousands of jobs. They're moving to Ireland. We're going to stop all of it. But here's the story. Here's the story. Take Carrier, nice and simple. And by the way, United Technologies, part of Carrier. The whole thing is a disaster. They're moving people. So many people moving to Mexico. We got to stop it. We're not going to have any jobs left. Mexico is the new China. Remember this. I love the Mexican people. I love the Hispanic people. But their leaders are too smart for our leaders. Our leaders don't have a clue. Frankly, our leaders are stupid, folks. They're stupid. So, here's what we're going to do. And somebody will say, he is not conservative, because there's only one way to stop it. We're going to, and I know it doesn't sound presidential, and I can pick one of my killer negotiators, because I know the greatest in the world. Carl Icahn, the great businessman, just endorsed me. I have many other business people endorsing me. They say I'm the only one that knows what I'm talking about, which is true, because I deal with Rubio, I deal with Cruz. These guys don't know anything. They have no clue what's going on, I'm telling you. So I have the big business leaders, the great business leaders, the people that made billions. They don't want money. We have political hacks doing our negotiation. Here's what we're going to do. I'd like to do it myself. I know it's not presidential. They're going to say, that is not presidential. I know I'm the President of the United States, and I call up the head of Carrier. And I start talking to him about 1,400 jobs. The president's not supposed to be doing that, but I'll do it anyway, okay? All right, you mind? You know what? It's too easy. I don't want to give it. We're going to have the greatest negotiators in the world. I know them all. I know the good ones. I know the bad ones. I know the underrated ones that are better than everybody and nobody knows who they are. I know the ones that are highly overrated, that you think are good and no good, or not great. Everybody's better than what we have. You know, these are the biggest deals in the world. These are bigger than any company deals. These are deals in the trillions and trillions. Trans-Pacific Partnership, a disaster. It's a disaster. We're giving our country away. That's going to be a disaster. So here's what I'm going to do. The president, sir, is calling you. The president of what? The president of the United States. Oh, it's calling me. Now here's the head of Carrier. Yes, Mr. President. Whatever your name is, here's the story. You just left 1,400 great people who have worked for you for many years. They've done a great job. They built up your brand. They've done a great job. And you can negotiate with them for wages and all that stuff. You can even move to another part of our country if you have to. But let me tell you something. If you don't move back, we're going to have to talk. And they're going to say, we cannot do that, sir. Okay, good. Here's the story. We are going to charge you a 35% tax on every air conditioning unit that you send across the border to the United States. Every single one. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. If you have one of these lightweight guys, they're brokers, essentially. I call them brokers. But they're lobbyists or they're special interest guys, a lot of power. You see that in the debates, where the whole room was filled up with special interests. And I'm self-funding. I'm not getting anything from these people. So I'm the only guy. I had my wife and a few of my kids in the room, and I heard them clapping like crazy. But we have a room loaded up with special interests and lobbyists. So here's what's going to happen. With them, they'll say, and they know it's a bad deal, but with them, they're going to get a call, and that's the end of it. Carrier moves, Carrier bills, Carrier does fine, that's the end, and we take the brunt of it. But here's what's going to happen with me. They're going to call me, people are going to call me, friends. I didn't take any of their money. I owe nobody nothing, folks, nothing. N-U-T-T-I-N. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So here's the story. They're going to call me and I'm going to say, I'm sorry. They're going to have people call me. I'm going to say, hey, I'm sorry. Not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. And within 24 hours, I will get a call back, probably from the head of Carrier. And he's going to say, Mr. President, I'd like to inform you that we are not going to move out of the United States. We're going to stay where we are, or move to Ohio, or move to someplace else. We'll move to Michigan, we'll move to New York, we'll move to someplace. As long as it's in the United States, folks. And that's what's going to happen, as sure as you're sitting there. Ford Motor Company is building a $2.5 billion plan. I've been speaking about this for over a year. $2.5 billion. You know what that is on a one-story building? Do you have any idea how big $2.5 billion is in Mexico? They're building a massive plan to build cars, trucks, and parts. They're going to sell them all over, but they're selling a lot of them into the United States. Now, how does it help us for Ford to build a plant, close up factories in Michigan and other places, and have this massive plan? It doesn't, okay? The only way, and I'm very good at this stuff, I went to the great Wharton School of Finance, which really is the best school in the world for this, but that's okay. Most people are great. Hardest school to get into, I can tell you, but it's one of the great, great places. But you don't have to. If you didn't go to college, if you didn't go to high school, you're all smart. It's a horrible deal for us. So with Ford, I do the same thing. I'd say, if you want to move, that's okay, but you got to pay a 35% tax. And you know, honestly, folks, they're not going to even think about it. Now I'll be criticized. They'll say, isn't that disgusting? He's not a free trader. Folks, we're losing our ass. We're getting killed. We're getting killed. We're getting killed. Our companies are just, we're like the bully that just gets beat up by everybody. We are losing millions of jobs, millions, not thousands, millions and millions of jobs. We're going to stop. We're going to bring our jobs back from China. We're going to bring our jobs back from Japan, where they sell us cars by the millions, and we give them practically nothing. You want to see a trade imbalance? Take a look at what we take from Japan and what we give them back. It's a joke. okay? So what a lot of people don't understand, and what I understand better than anybody, we have the cards. We have the cards. Because without us, they would have a depression the likes of which you've never seen. We have to a certain extent, untie ourselves with some of these horrible deals we've made. We've got to make better deals, stronger deals, smarter deals. And you know what? China, and I do a lot of business with China, I've made a lot of money dealing against China, not with them, against them, against them. But China doesn't respect us. They make a fortune. We have rebuilt China. It's the greatest theft in the history of the world, what they've done to us. They've taken everything, our money, our jobs, our manufacturing. Boeing is now building massive plants in China. Then they're going to devalue their currency, and all of a sudden, in South Carolina and in Seattle and in the different places, all of a sudden they're going to say, well, we're not making too many planes, they're going to make them in China. I know exactly what's going to happen. And they wouldn't have done the plant except when they made a big order from China. China said, we're going to order these 300 planes, but we want you to build a massive plant. And I know what's going to happen. Once the plant is built, they're going to devalue their currency more. It's going to be impossible for the American people to compete with that, and we're going to lose all those jobs. Not going to happen, folks. We're not going to let it happen, okay? We're not going to let it happen.